Peter, are you having fun tonight in a way that you don't typically have when you're hosting Wait Wait, because there are a lot of things to keep track of and panelists to wrangle and things like that. Tonight
I'm just hanging out, enjoying the backstage catering, watching you struggle.
Well, I learned from the best.
I understand. It's great. This is a much better gig. Here, why don't you do something that you've worked on all week, and then I will come up with something off the top of my head, and they'll like it more.
Yes. That is a perfect description of what happens with Livewire.
Yeah.
Are you used to the incredible popularity of the juggernaut that is Wait Wait, or is it still slightly surprising to you?
Incredibly popular and juggernaut, these are not words applied to public radio. I mean, seriously, this is public radio. Public radio fame is sort of like, to real fame, what those little HO scale railroads are to jumbo jets. I mean, it's vaguely the same thing, but smaller, slower, and more toy-like.
But you guys did shows in San Francisco this summer, and was like 4 shows?
Yeah, we did. No, we did 3 shows in San Francisco and then a bunch of reruns that we taped there, so it sounded like more.
And I heard that sold out in like 6 hours or something. This was a big
There's
auditorium.
nothing to do in San Francisco. Seriously, it's a backwater. You go look at the sea lions, maybe you get some chocolate at Fisherman's Wharf. There's nothing. So of course they would come see a radio show. Just think of the kind of person who would take an evening out of their lives and come see a radio show.
Yeah.
Being taped, especially in an unair-conditioned death trap. Like, I mean, those people are not the kind of people you want for your audience. Am I right, everybody? Yeah.
What do you...
You see, it's not fun, right? You prepared this interview. I'm coming here. I'm just zinging things off. They're laughing.
It really is, I have to say.
It really sucks, doesn't it?
The tables have really turned.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to get even with you for all the times I haven't won on Wait Wait, but you're getting
this
even
is my vengeance.
with me for all the times when I've torpedoed your careful plan.
Exactly.
When I can see that you're about to say a carefully written little bon mot at the end of something, and then I yell my thing about
Yeah,
duty.
And everybody laughs, and I know that in the edit, no one will ever hear the thing that I wrote. It'll be you, it'll be Luke, and it's like, this is great.
Are you getting the amount of enjoyment out of being the host, even if you think it's only public radio famous? It's still pretty famous. The host of Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, are you getting the enjoyment out of that you thought you would? Because a lot of people are huge fans of yours, and it's a gig that many people would envy.
No, I'm sorry. I do, and I apologize for doing this, tend to extend my self-deprecation a little too far. And the fact of the matter is that I have, in fact, the best job in the world. Except for maybe for you, because you get to do what I do, and you have a backing band.
And I'm able to do hot yoga, too, during the show, so it's very efficient.
It's a radio show. It's a weight loss program.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I shaved my head just so it would be cooler here.
Yeah.
No, it's wonderful because, in fact, I get to do shows. Every week I get to do a show with wonderful people, such as yourself and your colleagues on our panel. And I also do it for the best people in the world who are public radio fans. I pity people who are famous on television, because who watches television, am I right? Just lowlifes who eat inorganic foods purchased from lesser chain grocery stores.
That's right, than the ones that sponsor this program.
Yeah.
Darn it.
Yeah.
You wrote something on Twitter the other day. You said one of the great parts of your life these days is that you're able to reach out to people who you admire, maybe who you've seen doing whatever they do, and you said, and sometimes they hang out with me.
It's pretty awesome.
Is that a thing you're able to do probably because they know you from Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me?
Well, no, it's because of my extreme good looks. In many ways, I am the short, middle-aged Jewish male equivalent of a Beyonce. Of somebody who is so gorgeous.
Is that why you keep making us call you Bae backstage?
That is exactly why. and why I wear those dresses. No, it's because, it's fun because, I have this. So, for example, I went to a music festival in Chicago, and we were seeing Death Cab for Cutie. And my friend said, "Oh my gosh, I think that guy's Chris, the guitarist." And is it? And we walked over and said, "Yes." And she said, "This is Peter Sagal." And I said, "Oh, Peter Sagal." And he introduced me to his parents. So,
Sue, check this out, Peter.
Because that's what happens a lot.
Sue and Gary Walla, I know them.
Yeah. Do you know them?
I really know them.
They're very nice.
I called them and said, "I know Peter Sagal. Do you think we could get an introduction with Sue and Gary Walla?" And it worked.
And it was great because I'm because I am who I am, I got to meet the now former guitarist for Death Cab and Cuties. There's too many prepositions here. The former guitarist for Death Cab for Cuties' parents. That's the access that my fame gets me. It's also pretty typical, and you may find this out now that you're getting into this business, that you will meet really exciting, cool young people, many of them very attractive, may I say, and they will go, "Wow, my parents would like to meet you."
Yes.
This was unusual in that his parents were right there. It's often more abstract. Like, boy, I'm going to call my elderly mother and she'll be thrilled.
That was precisely what happened at the hotel when I checked in, and it was for a taping of Wait, Wait. I was talking to the front desk person, and I was mentioning I'm working with this show, and she seemed very impressed and I thought maybe this will be an upgrade in the room department, and she said exactly that. "My dad is a huge fan of that show. What's it called? What do you know?"
No. I went on a cruise. I was an entertainer on a cruise, the Jonathan Colton cruise, JoCo cruise. And a number of people on the cruise said to me, "My parents didn't understand why I wanted to go on this. And then I told them you were going, and then they thought it was okay." So that is what I do for the youth of America. I make their outings seem harmless to their parents.
Seem.
Because you've seen me party with my light beer backstage.
I know that you went to Harvard.
I did.
Did you graduate with a group of people who are now running things? And
three of the members of my class are in President Obama's cabinet, which really pisses me off. Because I went back to my 25th college reunion a little while ago, and I thought, I'd be the big cheese. I thought, oh yeah, public radio host, that'll be awesome. It's like, oh yeah, Peter Sagal, that's great. Could you stand over there behind the Secretary of Education, the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, and the Treasurer of the United States? Yeah, okay.
Those are your classmates?
Those are my classmates. Plus, there are a couple of odd billionaires. I mean, a few billion. It's a little distressing.
There are no non-odd billionaires at that point. I think it gets to you. But so, do you think they look at you enviously because they're probably public radio listeners? They're probably smart people. Like, does the Treasury Secretary wish they were Peter Sagal?
This is what I do, and this now is what you do. Although you have an evening show. So
I feel like this is the scene right before Obi-Wan gets cut in half with a lightsaber.
I know.
Like, you're imparting this wisdom to me before you...
Would that make you Darth? Or like, I shall rise... if you strike me down, Luke, I shall be more powerful than you can possibly imagine. I'm a nerd. This is what I do. I do an hour of radio a week that makes people's interminable tasks slightly more bearable. That's what I do. People say, "Oh, I love your show. It helps when I drive my kids to soccer. Oh, I love your show. It's when I do my dishes." Sometimes we do the live shows. People come and bring their dishes because they don't want to lose the opportunity to get the dishes washed simply by virtue of going to the show live. That's fine. They come in with tubs. It's okay.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. I mind when people bring the crosswords because it's like, harder multitasking. So when I meet a relatively well-known person, they don't say to me, "Oh, I love your show. It provides wisdom and knowledge and gives me a focus of the week where I can really sort of center my life's view upon the work that you do." They say, "Oh, I love your show. Thanks to you, I grouted my bathroom."
I would have quit 53 minutes in, but I wanted to hear Paula's prediction.
Exactly, and I'm like, that's great. Brad Pitt's bathroom got grouted, thanks to me. I made that up. I've never met Brad Pitt. I only hope that he would listen to me while he grouts his bathroom.
Do you get nervous ever when you have those? I mean, because you've had the president has been on.
We've had the President Obama when he was a senator and President Clinton after he was president.
And you've had, a long list of very, very famous people. Do you get nervous about those conversations?
I used to, and then I decided to hell with them, let them be nervous. Well, this is the funny thing. Because these are very prominent people, as you say, have accomplished a lot, but everybody is terrified about whether they will be funny or not. Everybody wants to be funny and are terrified they won't be. And sometimes that plays out poorly, but a lot of times they're eager for our help to be funny. They want to sort of let us help them. So they tend to be a little more nervous than we are. Plus we make them take this silly quiz. People don't like quizzes. In fact, I learned this the hard way. I call up all of our guests, all of them, prior to the show, and I explain to them that they're going to take a quiz, and it just doesn't matter. I say, you are an accomplished person. Your Oscars, your awards will not be taken away from you if you lose this quiz. I use this example. We have a Supreme Court Justice, a sitting Supreme Court Justice, Stephen Breyer, came on our show, took the quiz. 3 questions wrong, still on the Supreme Court.
Yes. I think I was on the panel for that show, and I think I called him Your Excellency.
You did, actually. It was very funny. I heard later that he kind of regretted that, by the way. So,
one last question. You have you've written a book about vices before,
yes,
and I'm just wondering. I don't want to put you too much on the spot, but what do you? And you actually here at Portland, I think, visited Mary's strip club.
I did. My favorite strip club in the country, as it should be of all right-thinking people.
Was there something Portlandy about this strip club?
Well, for one thing, it has excellent beer. You all know, of course, that Portland, some say, has the highest per capita numbers of sex workers in the country, right? This is a well-known statistic about Portland. That may not be true, but if it isn't, don't tell me. And Mary's Club was founded shortly after the war by a sailor who ended up in Portland. He died about, 10 years ago now. And his family runs it. So you walk in, and his very nice granddaughter welcomes you. It's a tiny little place. They have a little stage. It's for those who care, it's both full liquor license and total nudity, because that's how Portland rolls. And the women who perform there, who are very loyal to Mary's, and Mary's very loyal to them, they get health benefits. She was telling me they go on company outings. They have picnics. And so they come on and they strip to a jukebox, which they select because they let people choose their own music. And they strip and they take off all their clothes, and then they bow and get tips, and then they step off the stage and they put the clothes back on right there because there's no place else for them to go because it's small. And the first time I went there, we went with Roy Blunt Jr.
Like you do.
Like you do. And we walked in, and it was just at the end of one woman, a kind of zaftig young woman who was performing or had just finished her performance. So just as we walked in, she was trying to wriggle back into her pants, which were small and spangly. And Roy looked over and said, "Maybe we came at a bad time?"
That's why you have to go to strip clubs with public radio and literary luminaries.
You really want to go,
you get the right little zingers.
Yeah,
all right.
Only go with people who've won the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor. That's my advice.
Peter, okay, you have made very many famous people answer very many questions about jobs which are not actually theirs in the game Not My Job, of course, on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me. And we thought we would take it easy on you here on Livewire by asking you to play our game, which we're calling Yeah, That Was Kind of My Job. We're going to ask you 3 questions that are related to actual jobs you have had. For every correct answer, you are going to get a point. And for every wrong answer, our own Andrew Harris, who's standing right over there, who has a smartphone in his hands, he is going to start an internet rumor about you on Twitter.
Oh, how awesome.
So
I have some suggestions.
Stakes are pretty high.
Yeah.
Andrew, are you ready for this?
Yeah, it's going to be totes scandalous.
Okay. So can you, let's start with, what rumor is Peter playing to try to keep off of the internet here on question number 1.
If he gets the question wrong, I will tweet, Peter Sagal dated Cher for 3 months in 1989, and she broke it off due to his lactose intolerance.
That would be awesome.
Andrew,
Go for it.
Do we have any other rumors that he doesn't like?
Another one, Peter Sagal refers to his own head as the Pleasure Dome.
All right, that's the one. That's what you're playing for.
All right.
Question number 1. Okay, Peter. These are
I'm not averse to any of this. I'm in public radio. This can only help.
Question number 1. You spent a summer as a motorcycle journalist with Cycle magazine.
This is true.
You were in college.
Yes.
You are aware of this, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which of these is a real thing that somebody did on a motorcycle?
Okay.
Steve Lazaro went over Niagara Falls on a motorcycle attached to 2 floating barrels. He broke both legs and a couple of ribs, but otherwise survived.
Okay.
Motorcycle stuntman Dennis Pinto set himself on fire and drove full speed into the side of a van, landing still smoldering on a pile of cardboard boxes on the other side.
Okay.
Or Daredevil Evel Knievel played an entire exhibition hockey game on his patriotic motorcycle. Evel Knievel played an entire exhibition hockey game on his patriotic motorcycle.
Right.
One of those things really happened.
One of those things is true. So the guy with the barrels, guy who went through a van, or Evel Knievel. Are you old enough to remember Evel Knievel trying to jump the Snake River?
Yes, in that modified jet pack thing.
That was the most disappointing thing that's ever happened.
I think Geraldo Rivera opening Al Capone's vault was my childhood disappointment topper.
Really?
And then that Evel Knievel Snake River attempt was right below it.
I know. Maybe I'm a little older because when the vault happened, I was like, yeah, you should have been there when Evel Knievel tried to jump the Snake River. Now you know how I feel, youngster. Anyway, I'm going to dismiss that because I don't think Evel Knievel ever played a hockey game. And I think the first one, a motorcycle and a barrel, I think somebody went over Niagara Falls in a barrel, but not on a motorcycle. So I will pick number 2, the guy who went through the van and landed on the cardboard.
And you are absolutely right, Peter Sagal. So, reputation protected.
Yes.
For now.
That bums me out. Could you tweet that anyway?
You're really not playing the game the way we thought you would, but that's all right. Okay. Question number 2 for Peter Sagal here on Livewire.
Upon his head did Peter Sagal a stately pleasure dome decree.
Ooh.
Harvard English major, pal. Let's go.
Yeah, but you're no Secretary of the Treasury.
Yeah, well.
Question number 2 for Peter Sagal. And this is also a real thing. Our listeners will probably be fascinated to hear in one moment. Andrew Harris, rumor that we will be spreading about Peter Sagal on the internet if he gets this wrong.
Peter Sagal drives a wood-paneled PT Cruiser with a waterbed in the back.
Yes! How else do I transport the pleasure dome?
All right. You were an extra in the video.
Cher loved that car.
She broke up with you when it got repoed.
I know.
Okay.
I said, come to my PT Cruiser, enjoy some cheese, and then I got sick, and she broke it off.
I once saw a PT Cruiser with a Tasmanian devil, the comic, with turning into flames, and then they had a dream catcher hanging from the rearview mirror, and I thought, give that to somebody else. You've already caught the dream.
You really have.
Share that. Okay, here we go. We're running short on time. Question number 2. Peter Sagal, you were in fact an extra in the video for Michael Jackson's Remember the Time. Mm-hmm. Here is a question about that. Which one of these is true about Michael Jackson music videos? Dancers in the Thriller video worked such long hours that many claim to have nightmares about zombies for months afterwards. For the 1995 video, Who Is It?, Jackson and director David Fincher auditioned 15 high-end escorts, but didn't hire any of them because they couldn't act well enough. Or for Beat It, Jackson hired 80 members of rival LA street gangs, the Crips and the Bloods, to be extras in hopes of fostering peace through the power of dance. One of those is a real thing.
Really?
Yep.
First one was like the guys who worked so long they actually had nightmares about zombies. Yep. That's the Thriller. Yep. Second one was he and David Fincher, who did direct music videos. I know that, back in the day. And the last one, of course, actual members of the Crips and the Bloods, so they could be healed through the power of dance. I want the David Fincher one to be right, so I'm going to choose that.
Oh. he in fact hired 80 members of the Crips and Bloods.
Did he
in
really?
the hopes of fostering peace through the power of dance.
How did that work out?
Not great.
Oh.
Okay. Last question. This is for all the marbles. I don't even know what you're playing for or how that would work, but this is the last question. Andrew Harris, what is the rumor that will be spreading about Peter Sagal? By the way, have you been tweeting the rumors anyway? Because he seems gung-ho. Maybe the punishment should be we stop tweeting rumors about Peter Sagal.
I'm just playing by the rules. I just tweeted the waterbed one.
Okay.
PT Cruiser.
Okay, what's
this
the
one
next
is Peter Sagal forgot about Dre.
Forgot about what?
Forgot about Dre.
Who?
Exactly. Peter, you co-wrote the movie Dirty Dancing 2, Havana Nights.
Sort of.
You were part of the writing
I was part of the writing.
of Dirty Dancing 2, Havana Nights.
I got second story credit.
Which of these is true about the 2004 film that you got second story credit on? In order to look like pre-revolution Cuba, producers bought underground parking for all the tourists' fancy cars in the part of Puerto Rico where they filmed it. Puerto Rican dancers differ from Cuban forms of salsa. Puerto Rican dances differ from Cuban forms of salsa so significantly that no local dancers were hired in any of the filming. Or 3, the film very closely follows your original script. Which of these is true?
If it was number 3 that had followed my script, there would have been a lot more about Cher, because I wrote the movie as my love letter to her after our failed relationship.
Which fell apart in Havana.
It did.
I was told.
No, the movie was shot in Puerto Rico. I know that. I was not invited to the set. I don't know why. So either the underground garage or the dancers. I'm going to guess there's not a lot of underground parking in Puerto Rico, so I'm going to guess it was 2, the dancers.
You are absolutely wrong.
Oh.
They parked all of the tourist fancy cars underground in Puerto Rico so that they could film it and make it look like pre-revolution Cuba.
I just want to say this, I feel terrible.
See?
This has changed my life.
Why do you think those Supreme Court justices are so nervous?
I'm never going to make somebody else take a quiz again.
There it is, folks. Ruining public radio.
There you go.
Since 2004, right here on Livewire. Peter Sagal from Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.